On the wider issue, the crisis facing the NHS, waiting lists could double to 12 million by 2025, despite the billions being poured into the NHS. Is it broken?
I don't believe it's broken, but I do believe it needs to change. It needs to demonstrate, continue to demonstrate, actually, the flexibility that it's shown through the pandemic. The beginning of the pandemic, everybody was saying that this is going to be a huge challenge, obviously, to the health service. And there were doubts about whether it would have the flexibility and the resilience to respond. It responded magnificently to the challenge of the pandemic. And now what we need to be doing, thinking forward, is to ensure that we do look at our care pathways, at the way we deal with individual conditions in order to ensure that we can meet the priority need. The problem with a 12 million waiting list, or even the existing 5 million waiting list, is that the great majority of people on that waiting list have conditions that need to be dealt with, but they're not life-threatening. But in those 5 million, or in that even larger number, is a small number that you need to prioritize accurately. You need to get to the front of the queue because they do have conditions that could, if they're not dealt with, be life-threatening. And that's the capacity to manage a waiting list, to deal with it according to proper clinical priority. That's what the health service needs to be more flexible and to be dealing with, frankly, immediately from now.
Seems right now it doesn't have any wiggle room. There is no capacity to do exactly what you've just laid out.
Well, I don't think that's right, actually. I think that what's happening within the health service at the moment is that new ways of looking at waiting lists. For example, there was a story on the front page of the Times, I think it was last week or maybe the week before, looking at the people on waiting lists, asking how many of those we've all experienced being on a waiting list, told by a clinician, you need to come back for a checkup in 3 months' time. Well, if the checkup is every 3 months, for some people, that may be necessary. We have to ask the question whether the checkup appointment is still the best use of the clinician's time, given the priority that what we've just been talking about, the need to prioritize people on a waiting list.
Do you go to sleep at night glad you're not health secretary anymore, given what we're going through at the moment?
Well, for a variety of reasons, I remain very actively involved in the health service. So I don't aspire to be health secretary anymore, but I do think the issues that successive health secretaries have dealt with before I held the job and since are among the most important in our society. So I remain actively engaged in them.